What can a person learn or know right now in 10 minutes that will be useful for the rest of their life? Here's the real answer to the OP. How to unclog a toilet using an expedient bucket flush. Situation: you have just taken a dump at someone else's place, and due to either the sheer volume of the crap or using too much TP, you've clogged the toilet when attempting to flush. There is no plunger in sight. You don't want to risk a second flush overflow and make a bad situation worse. Mission: unclog the toilet and leave the bathroom with honor. Execution: look around for the small trash can and take out the garbage liner if present. If not already on, turn on the exhaust fan, fill the can with water from the bathtub faucet. Open the faucet discreetly to minimize noise. In one continuous and smooth pour, direct the water toward the hole of the toilet. The steady downpour will break up and push the clog and begin the siphoning effect. The toilet will flush, but will leave a measly quantity of water. Flush the toilet to get rid of any stragglers. Replace the can liner in the can. Ensure the shower curtain goes back to its original position. Wash hands, turn off the exhaust fan, and walk out with confidence. Administration and logistics. The small garbage can is the most obvious choice, but may not be available. Be resourceful and look for any containers of opportunity. Females tend to keep containers under the vanity. Command and signal. After proper execution, ensure no trace of the technique is present. This means no drips of water, displaced containers, or disturbed surroundings. A professional leaves no traces. Obfuscate questions about the running tub, and if challenged, ask the inquisitor if he or she was listening to you take a dump. That will end the conversation. Go ahead and try it. You're welcome. How to recognize a stroke. It could save a life one day. Just remember FAST, or F-A-S-T, face. Ask them to smile. Is one side of their face drooping? Arms. Ask them to lift both arms. Is one arm drifting downwards? Speech. Ask them to repeat a simple phrase. Is their speech slurred? Time. If you see any of these signs, then get help immediately. A stroke happens when blood is cut off from part of the brain, and symptoms can appear even 24 hours in advance. It is fatal if unattended, so be aware. X% of Y equals Y% of X. If you need to find 3% of 50, you can instead find 50% of 3, which is 1.5. Survivorship bias. The key example is every time you hear about Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg dropping out of college and becoming billionaires, so it should make sense for people to drop out of college and find their tech startup. That's a horrible idea. To understand, back in World War II, they were trying to figure out where planes should be reinforced, so they marked on a diagram where all the bullet holes were on the planes that returned safely from missions. The initial thought was to reinforce the places where the holes were until somebody pointed out that those holes were in planes that made it back safely. Planes with holes in the other areas that were not marked on the diagram did not return safely, so they should reinforce those areas instead. This applies to music too. When people watch Guardians of the Galaxy and moan about how the 70s had much better music, they don't realize that only the good stuff has survived until now. The crappy repetitive tunes have been forgotten and filtered out through time. How to correctly stab someone with an EpiPen. My girlfriend has a peanut allergy, and I really would love to live in a world where more people know the correct way to use that instrument. Step 1. Take off the cap. It's blue. This is the side that points away from their body. Step 1.5. Make sure that you won't hit their phone. Step 2. Stab that into their leg, upper outer thigh. Through any non-super thick pants is fine. Jeans are fine. Thumb holding the sides, you stab them with the orange side. Step 3. Hold it there for 3 seconds. It used to say 10 seconds. EMT guy in the comments says FDA recently changed this to 3 seconds. Step 4. Call 911. EpiPens buy time, not fix the problem entirely. Do not be gentle. Bruises heal. Being gentle often causes a muscle twitch. Their reflex will be to jerk away, and if the needle comes out without giving them the dose, you can't just re-stab them. Hold their leg from the inside, otherwise it could cause a large cut that almost always results in a scar associated with unpleasant memories. Also, rub the injection site for a few seconds after you remove it from their skin. It will help get into their bloodstream faster. Also, do not hold it with your thumb over the end, as some EpiPens are double-ended. Grab it full fist with all your fingers curled around the midsection. You do not want an injection directly into a small appendage like your thumb. Seems like a dumb thing to have to explain, but people do weird stuff under stress. To give some further detail, epinephrine causes blood vessels to constrict. When it's injected somewhere like a thumb, the already small vessels there will constrict to the point where the thumb might die, caused by low blood flow. In Excel, select All by using Ctrl plus A. I'm sure you all knew, but then when you press the following separately after, Alt plus H plus O plus I, voila! All your columns' widths are now auto-fitted. Change the I to A for height. How to properly breathe. Normally, we take shallow breaths into our chest. However, if we actually just take 10 minutes out of every day to focus on our breath and breathe down into our abdomen, we will actually begin to relax and feel so much nicer. Suddenly, things like meditation become easier. You become more aware of here and now, and emotions are much more available to deal with and process, among many physical benefits, all just building on the simple act of breathing properly. Doing these two things will immediately improve the quality of your life. 1. Don't take things personally. 2. Assume the best in people. Simple, yet so challenging. 2 rules. 1. Assume nothing. 2. Follow up and check. My father taught me these, and I found that virtually every major mess-ups in my life can be traced back to ignoring one of them. You forgot the 3rd rule. Question everything. The NATO phonetic alphabet, because spelling out words over a crappy line can cause mistakes. When screwing the left pedal into a bicycle, the thread is reversed, so the left is tighter and the right is looser. I worked at a bike shop over the summer. A few times people came in saying they couldn't get the left pedal off no matter how hard they twisted. They were making it tighter. Salting your pasta while boiling them results in delicious pasta, which brings out the flavor of whatever sauce you're going to use on them. Are there people not salting their pasta? Edit. One more thing, try putting pasta in your pan with the sauce. It mixes the sauce better and stops the pasta from sticking. The basic structure of your nation's political system. It is amazing how few people can give even an explain like I am 5 version of how ideas become laws, or who the top boss of their policeman is, or what are all the decisions they as a voter actually get to vote on. Wikipedia, politics of country, off you trot. It'll be a little dry, but you are now an adult. This stuff matters. Put yourself last in a sentence and take your friends' names out. If the sentence still makes sense, you formatted it correctly. Example, would you like to go with Joe and I? Take away Joe and the sentence becomes, would you like to go with I? This sounds stupid, so it should read, would you like to go with Joe and me? Because after taking away Joe, again it reads, would you like to go with me? Which is a proper sentence. Too many people think that you just replace me with I and call it a day, but it doesn't always work. Conversely, Joe and me went to the store. Take away Joe and the sentence reads, me went to the store, which once again sounds stupid. So the sentence should read, Joe and I went to the store, because when you remove Joe, once more it reads, I went to the store, which is a proper sentence. How to tie a tie. This applies both to those who have to wear them and those who can help tie one for someone else. If you have computer data that is very important, then don't store it in one place. Keep at least one backup on a computer that will never see the light of the internet, so if you by chance have a massive ransomware attack, you don't potentially lose millions of dollars and thousands of hours of work. 3-2-1 rule. 3 backups in 2 places, at least 1 off-site. What confirmation bias is? Well, what is it? Imagine that you have tried to reach a friend with whom you have an ambivalent relationship by phone or email, leaving messages, yet have not received a call in return. In a situation like this, it is easy to jump to conclusions in an intuitive manner that your friend wants to avoid you. The danger, of course, is that you leave this belief unchecked and start to act as though it were true. Confirmation bias occurs from the direct influence of desires on beliefs. When people would like a certain idea or concept to be true, they end up believing it to be true. They are motivated by wishful thinking. This error leads to the individual to stop gathering information when the evidence gathered so far confirms the views or prejudices one would like to be true. Once we have formed a view, we embrace information that confirms that view, while ignoring or rejecting information that casts doubt on it. Confirmation bias suggests that we don't perceive circumstances objectively. We pick out those bits of data that make us feel good because they confirm our prejudices. Thus, we may become prisoners of our own assumptions. Source: Psychology Today. The quick way to convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Subtract 30 and have it. Or for Celsius to Fahrenheit, double it and add 30. It's not absolutely precise, but it gets you within a degree or two and makes life easier when looking at weather forecasts and recipes, etc. in other countries, or when talking to my mother about the temperature. What to do if someone is having a seizure? 1. Try and move nearby furniture if possible so the patient doesn't hurt themselves. 2. Let them get on with it. 3. Once the seizure is over, move them somewhere safe and comfortable, a bed if at all possible, and keep them warm. Anyone with epilepsy will have done this many times before, and an ambulance is not necessary. Save it for someone who needs it. If it is someone's first seizure, or you are not sure, dial 999, 112, 911, or whatever. If a seizure lasts more than 2 minutes, call the emergency services. If a person has more than one seizure without regaining consciousness, call the emergency services. Never put anything in their mouth. You run the danger of them choking, and never try to restrain them. You will get hurt. I have epilepsy, and it scares the life out of me that if I have a seizure on the street, people won't know what to do. Another life pro tip: if you are epileptic or diabetic, etc., inform friends or coworkers, etc., and tell them what to do in emergencies. For some unknown reason, this is hardly ever taught in layman's first aid. Don't know about those in the medical profession. 1. Try to move nearby furniture if possible so the patient doesn't hurt themselves. 2. Note when the seizure began and start timing it. 3. Let them get on with it. 4. Once the seizure is over, move them somewhere safe and comfortable, a bed if at all possible, and keep them warm. FTFY. Grab something soft and put it under their head. Shirt, towel, blanket, hell, even a wallet or soft purse will do. People having seizures can slam their head into the floor with enough force to crack their own skull. Just don't use your hands or any body part. The force could easily shatter the bones in your hand or fingers. Take 10 minutes and make a recipe list with corresponding groceries. You will save a ton of money on food this week and actually like the things you're eating. Eventually, it'll become a habit and you'll thank yourself when you're eating food you actually like and want to eat every day at work, and saved a ton of money. The Heimlich maneuver. That you should take all of your antibiotics and not skip them because you don't feel like it. This really messes up with antibiotic resistance, yet continuously goes unheeded because a large portion of people feel it's okay to do so. Basic rules of logic or logical fallacies. The biggest one I can think of off the top of my head is if you don't know X means Y, you cannot conclude that not X means not Y. You can, however, conclude not Y means not X. Example from my symbolic logic class. If I showered before class X, that means my hair is wet, Y. That means every time I shower before class, my hair will be wet. If you know I showered, you know my hair will be wet. And if my hair is not wet, you know I didn't shower. Not Y means not X. However, you can't conclude that just because my hair is wet, that means that I showered. Maybe it was raining on the way to class. You do not know that Y means X. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Everyone has a reason for something. Figure out their angle. Lies, truths, excuses, actions. Always keep looking for the reasons, and then you will learn to judge people better. There. Loose and lose. How people mess these two up, well, I have no clue. Standard tuning on guitar can be remembered as E, every, A, acid, D, dealer, G, gets, B, busted, E, eventually. Had a friend teach me that 20 plus years ago, and I remember it still. Metacognition, or the awareness and understanding of one's thought process. In other words, you know when you don't know something, and as a result, you put forth effort to learn it. How to change a tire. How to recognize pseudoscience at a basic level. Basically anything that ignores data not supporting the hypothesis, only works with low response rates, draws false equivalencies, or is not generalized to anything or anyone. Also, if it claims to cure everything, it even helps with cancer and rheumatoid arthritis and aids weight loss. If it appeals to a lost art or ancient methods, if it acts like it's a secret even though it's clearly an advertisement, doctors don't want you to know. My favorite is when the big secret is so simple that if it had any validity, we would have already been doing it. Does copper heal us? Why haven't we been taping pennies to our arms for decades? This will get buried, but my dad taught me 2 career-related life rules that are in my head every day. Every job and workplace will have bullcrap and workplace politics. You need to find an office with the bullcrap that you can live with. Figure out the budget you can live on. Factor in 1 or 2 reasonable entertainment expenses a week or pay period, and put the rest in a savings account, preferably one that's a bit difficult to access. Every raise and bonus goes directly into that account too. You don't need more money when you're already paying your bills and with some extra, so put it away for big ticket items like a down payment on a house. Recognize a drowning person. That thread kinda changed my entire worldview and explained why no one came to help me when I was drowning once. So how? Lifeguard here. It's usually never the thrashing and yelling that we think it is. A swimmer in trouble usually has a vertical body position. Their legs may not be moving much, particularly not horizontally or upwards. They won't be making much noise due to water engulfing their mouth or being tired. They may have a distant or glassy look to their eyes. If you see someone bobbing along in the water instead of moving around, look closer. They might not be enjoying the waves. They could be in trouble. When I'm doubtful, I check it out, call their name, alert others nearby, try to throw something at them, and avoid swimming out to them, as a drowning swimmer will often push you under to get a better breath. If this happens, dive down and push up and back on their chest, and swim away. And most importantly, if someone really is in trouble, immediately call or assign someone else to call for help. Clicking a link with your scroll wheel will open it in a new background tab. Welcome to the world of having 50+ tabs opened at any time. Control+click does the same. A few niche browsers out there don't have the scroll click. The proper way to perform CPR. You very well could save someone's life, but the number one rule is to directly command someone to call 911. If you say somebody call 911, everyone will just look around hoping someone else will do it. You need to point to someone and tell them they specifically need to call for help. It helps if you make eye contact and point at them. Not kidding. Why? Because you need to be authoritative, and people in a flap tend to take directions from a person who has assumed an authoritative role. But more than that, if you can't make eye contact with a person long enough to point at them and instruct them, then they are probably in a panic and will not focus enough to be able to make the call or to communicate with an emergency effectively. Military time, known to the rest of the world as normal time. Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity. There are always two ways to tie your shoes. Make sure you learn the right way, because the wrong one unties really easily. Also, knots in general, because they are awesome. Formulas for the time value of money, helps with mortgages, how much you need to save for retirement, etc. How to sell and ship something on eBay. First, set up a payment method. PayPal. Find something to sell. I have 3 juggling clubs I never use. Priority medium flat rate box, costs $13.60 and you can ship anywhere inside the US. Go pick one up from a US post office. It is free to take as many boxes as you want. They have them set out. Note, there are other flat rate boxes as well. Find the box that is self-sealing. Take pictures of the items. Start a listing and describe it. For these clubs, I could do either an auction for 7 days for 99 cents or $9.99 is a good start, or do a buy it now for 30 days for $25 is good, or $30 and add accept offers. You can compare the item to others already listed. Often eBay will also recommend a good price to start with. Set shipping to USPS medium flat rate box and shipping price at $13.60. Once the item has sold, eBay will prompt you to ship it. At this point, you could print your own shipping label at home and tape it to the box, or take the shipping address with you to the post office and they can print the shipping label there for you. If you have an addiction problem, stop all vices now, because it will just get worse and worse as time goes on, so save yourself a lot of years of resources wasted. And no, you can't moderate. It's not in our genetics. Also, it's okay and you are not inferior, it just sucks. It's a hard battle that you will have to fight, i.e. the urge or scratch to drink or whatever, but fight it. Stop caring about others' opinions, or as David Foster Wallace puts it, you will become way less concerned with what other people think of you when you realize how seldom they do. If you ever wanted to paste any text from a website or a document into another one without having the text being formatted with its original font size, color, and style, use Ctrl+Shift+V instead of Ctrl+V. This saves lives. The letter A, when used as the standalone word A, is not capitalized. Logical fallacies. A logical fallacy is when there's something wrong with an argument. There are 5 types I'm going to talk about. False cause. Correlation does not equal causation, or just because 2 things happened in a sequence doesn't mean that they caused each other. Vaccination and autism levels have increased at the same time. Therefore, vaccines cause autism. Hint: this isn't a true statement. Loaded question. A question that has no right answer. Example: John, when did you stop beating your wife? Ad hominem. attacking the person, not the argument. Example, Person 1. I think that medical marijuana shouldn't be legal. Person 2. Says the person who was held back last year. Bandwagon. Everyone says it's true, so it's true. Example, a few hundred years ago, everyone thought that sperm was just little human bodies that grow into bigger humans until they were birthed. Appeal to authority. A person in charge says it's okay, so it's okay. Example, Trump says that all Muslims are bad, and he's the president, so he's right. The alphabet in your country's sign language. Super useful if you need to communicate with a deaf person. Simple signs like thank you and please can go a long way too. Also, if your friends learn, you can have very tedious secret conversations in front of other friends. You can lose weight simply by calculating how many calories you eat every day. Use an app like MyFitnessPal to track every tiny morsel of food and how many calories you expend. Get something like a Fitbit to help you. If you burn 500 more calories than you eat every day for 7 days, you will lose a pound a week. If you burn 1,000 more calories than you eat every day for 7 days, you will lose 2 pounds. Rinse and repeat and you will lose weight. How to brush your teeth properly. Look up the base technique, 45-degree angle pointed at the sulcus, space between gums and teeth, where lots of plaque builds up. Also how to floss properly. You're not sawing the floss, you're gently rubbing it against the side of your tooth up and down. If you work in a bar or in customer service of any kind, put a mirror behind you at the counter. This way, angry customers who approach you will have to see themselves in the mirror behind you, and the chances of them behaving irrationally lower significantly. How to tie various knots really comes in handy if you ever want to go camping. Secure a big truckload of stuff, make a bracelet, or do any number of other things. If you have a flat, break torque on the lug nuts by pushing the tire iron with your foot prior to jacking the car. When you jack the car, the lug nuts should come off by hand. The last lug nut will be hard because the wheel is slanting into it. Put your knee against the tire to hold it back and release the tension on the lug nut. When you put the tire back on, sit cross-legged in front of the car and put the tire on. You can also brace it with your foot this way when putting the lug nuts back on. Don't talk to the police without an attorney. If a random detective rings you up and just wants you to come in so that they can clear some things up, boy, you best lawyer up. When at a shop, putting back the item you found in its original place may just make someone's day instead of pissing them off. Shift plus Tab does the opposite of just Tab on your keyboard. The best way to learn something new is to try to explain it to someone else. How to wire basic circuits. It's literally one of the easiest things you can learn and can save you hundreds of dollars. Did the lamp break? Rewire it. Did the flashlight break? Rewire it. Need a light box? Simple circuit, a battery, and some LEDs. How to not believe your own thoughts, especially your thoughts about yourself. Be careful of your words around others. Be careful of your thoughts when alone. Pass when using a fire extinguisher. Pull the pin, aim, squeeze the lever, sweep at the base of the fire. How to keep your mouth shut. Example, anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Now remove the words can and. That the internet is a dubious place for useful life advice. What a mutual fund actually is and why they should invest in an index fund because of the higher average long-term yields and the benefits of low management costs. Basically how compound interest works. How to start and tend a fire. May not be useful in terms of survival now, but if you're at a bonfire where no one knows exactly how to start a fire, gather your wood to burn and separate it by thickness. Make sure it's all dry. Collect a lot of wood that's about 1/4 inch or less in diameter, since that will be burning the most. Now lay out a bed of dry starter material, don't know the technical term. Pine straw, paper, dry leaves, something that burns easily and fast. Get a lot of it, and put a few of the small sticks and twigs on top before lighting it. As the twigs burn, add larger sticks as needed, being careful not to put too much wood on at once so as not to smother the fire. If you can't get the flames to stay, fan it using something. If you have a hairdryer, use that. That's about it. Always watch the fire until it's burnt out, so as not to burn anything you didn't mean to. Edit. I should have mentioned that I assume that you have a lighter or matches. I've only done it once with a flint and steel, and it took my dad and me about an hour that way. That's good to know how to do as well, though. Nobody cares as much as you do about the way you look right now. Seriously, let it go. How to effectively Google things can save you time and embarrassment from asking stupid questions that you could have just Googled. 3 to 4 chords on a ukulele. You'll be able to play hundreds of songs, and who doesn't love the ukulele? Good posture. Save yourself from back issues. Never trust a woman who claims to be on birth control even if you've been with her for 10 years. You're welcome. Doing one extra thing a day will quickly make you everybody's favorite person. Example: Monday, the boss mentions something that needs doing and you do it. Tuesday, the bin is nearly but not quite full, but you take it out anyway. Wednesday, a coworker is having an issue. You help them. Thursday, if a child wants to play at a specific playground, you take them. Friday, you make a dessert for the family after dinner. After that week, who doesn't like you? The real secret is these things aren't revolutionary. They're just ensuring that you don't fall into an insular rut. Everyone else is insecure too. How to change a fuse. How to make meatballs. The secret ingredient is a cup of water. Add that to an egg, to a half pound of beef, and a half pound of sausage. Then mix in whatever spice you want, breadcrumbs and Parmesan cheese till the mixture isn't soupy anymore. It'll rock your world. Disagree. Soak your bread in milk first. This is called a panade, and it is the classic Italian technique for making meatballs. Before adding the bread to the meat, give it a hard squeeze to remove any excess milk. Why would you add flavorless water to a delicious meatball? How to stretch properly. There are a bunch of videos about it on YouTube. If you do this every morning, it doesn't take much more than 5 to 10 minutes. You'll notice major improvements in your flexibility within a week, and it's not really hard or exhausting to do, and your joints will thank you. Save 10% of every dollar you make. It doesn't matter if you make $7 an hour or $100 an hour. I've been doing this for 23 years now, and I have no worries about my future. I could literally have retired in my 30s if I chose to live a more frugal life. Thanks for watching until the end. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when our next video is available. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.